Hello everyone, today I wanted to make a quick review / tutorial on how to use and what is the Roland R26. Now the Roland R26 is a field recorder or a portable recorder, and field recorders are one of my favorite pieces of equipment that there is, because the idea of being able to achieve studio level quality anywhere in the world is just gorgeous. So I'm going to run you through the features of this thing and let's get going. So first of all, what is the Roland R26? As I said, it is a field recorder, which means it has a built-in internal microphone, actually 4 of them. There's one on the left, one on the right, and one on the front, and one in the back right here. Now there's different formations to how these microphones work that are built in, but what happens is the Roland R26 records the audio in stereo mode, and what happens is when someone records from the side, from the right side, the audio will come out from the right side of the headphones, and such will be the same for the left side. Now you do have the options to record the audio in mono and just have everything in a center, which is what I like to do. Now down here we have 2 dials that control the gain. The gain of what exactly? The gain of these 2 inputs right here, these 2 XLR and line in inputs. You can have microphones, guitars, and stuff like that going on here, and these would be the gain controls for those. Now the preamps on this field recorder are not bad, but they do have a bit of noise to them, especially when you get to the louder side, but they should be fine for most microphones, and I don't assume that you're going to be trying to run an SM7B on these, so you should be fine. Down here you have the recording or media controls of pause, play, next track, previous track, and up here you have the menu. Now the menu is going to be the most important bit. I'm going to go through it in good detail, but that's going to be when I turn on the device. On the right side of the device we have the headphone, and you can connect this so you can monitor yourself whenever you're recording, and there is a headphone volume. There's a mini speaker so you can hear back the audio if you don't have any headphones, and you have a mic plug-in. This is obviously for smaller mics, probably things like lav mics, I'm assuming, but I haven't tried it out yet. On this side we have the DC jack right here. This is where you connect this to the power or the outlets. This will not charge the device. This device does not actually charge or have a built-in battery. You do get to add or take out batteries from behind like this. This device runs on 4 AA batteries, as you can see. You can get rechargeable batteries, but you cannot directly charge the batteries through the DC jack, so you can only power this with electricity, but the minute that you're going to run out, you're going to have to start going back to moving to batteries. And up top we have the USB if you decide to connect this to your computer so you can send storage or use this as an audio interface, which is one of my favorite things. To be able to use this as an audio interface on your PC is a great feature, and I think that every field recorder should have it pretty much, and most of them do, especially ones by Zoom, but I'm just mentioning. So up top as well you have obviously the SD card slot. It's a full SD slot, and one last button I forgot to mention is the sensitivity button. If you click this button right here, the device will notice the noise around you, the sound, the kind of loudness levels that are around you, and it's going to adjust the sensitivity of the microphones accordingly. And on the back here we have a tripod. This is a standard one for camera, so the microphone is going to be able to fit just fine on this as well. Let's turn on the device and test out the internal microphones. Also, if anyone noticed this is just, it's a bit of a thing in the display because I bought this used, so just bear with me on that part. Now, besides the obvious piece of ink or burn-in, or I really don't know what this is in fact a touch display, which is just gorgeous to have on such an interesting but somewhat old device. Here we can see the levels. These are the level meters for the audio. This would be for the right and left input, which would be for input 1 or 2, or the inputs at the top of the microphone, depends if using the internal or an external microphone. We'll get to that in a bit. Here's the battery indicator. This is the time and date up the top, and here we're going to display how much of the recording is and how long it's been going for. Down here we have the info and the MON, which I'm assuming is for monitoring, and we have the AB speed. I haven't really gotten too deep into this, but under the info tab right here you get to see the information of the recording that's being played. Under the monitoring you get to hear the channels and control the different levels that you want to hear them in. As I said, this is a touch display. I can get the levels higher or lower as I wish. Down here at the bottom it says internal. This is the microphone being used right now, so I'm going to go from my Audio-Technica microphone to the built-in microphone, and we'll see how it goes. This might be a bit difficult to do in post, but good luck to me. Now, in the hopes that future me is not an idiot in post-production, this is what the microphone sounds like on these devices. I'm recording from the top right here, and if I record from the side, you should be able to hear it on one headphone if you're connecting headphones while wearing this video, and now it should be the opposite side. Now, I think that the built-in microphone in this device are actually really good. The capsule might be super small, but for things like interviews, when you go back and forth between people, I think it works really well. For stuff like singing and playing guitar, I haven't tested them yet, but the sound seems to be fairly neutral, and they have a built-in limiter as well, which reduces or completely annihilates the idea of clipping, which is great for this kind of device. There's also a 100 Hertz high-pass filter. I don't know if it's engaged right now, but yeah, let's go back to the Audio-Technica so this can be a little bit easier for me. And I think this goes unsaid, but the recording button obviously records, but you can't pause a recording using the record button, you have to click the stop right here. So let's get over to the menu here and see what we have. So there's a bunch of options here you can see that the Roland R26 has. I'm going to go through the basic ones, or at least the most important ones in them. I had to flip the camera so you guys can see the screen the way I do. But here we have the recording setup on the top. Now, of course, as you can see here, it says recording mode. You can record in 2 channels or more or less. The recording source is a very important bit. Internal means it's going to be using obviously the internal microphones, these ones right here, and you can change that so you can make it analog. Now you have analog and analog mono, so you can have the analog sound from the right and the left, so you can work on it later, or you can have it to work differently. Obviously the plugin right here is going to be this microphone plugin right here. Here we can see the sample rate. I don't really mess with those. The recording format is WAV, which is going to take a bunch of space. And I say this because a lot of people think that audio files are not big. They are, especially when you're recording in WAV, which is uncompressed. There's a bunch of other settings I'm not going to go too deep into. File type, max file size, you can increase that as much as you can. I think 2 gigs is actually the biggest they'll allow you. Now moving over to the input setup right here. This one adjusts the settings of the microphones that you work with. The internal microphone right here has, as I said, a limiter and a high pass filter of 100 Hertz, 200 Hertz, and 400 Hertz. Typically, if you're recording at home or if you're doing some kind of interviews, you might want to raise this between 100 or 200 Hertz, depends on how much air and how much wind is in the area that you're recording at, because if you're somewhere that has a lot of people and has a lot of wind, you want to take out as much of that as possible. So you might just want to take out 100 Hertz, and then you can later in the settings or in the post-production, you can add a bit more high pass filter if you feel like you need to. In the analog end, this is going to be the microphone that you're going to be inserting. As you can see, this has input 1 and input 2. Now input 1 right here has an option to turn on the phantom power. This is if you're using shotgun microphones or condenser microphones. There's an input limiter. Input 2 has the same phantom power limiter and LC cutoff, which is obviously the high pass filter as we talked about earlier. Most of the other ones should be pretty easy to understand, like the Finder, which gives you the folders. This is the only recording, which is the one that I recorded with the audio that you heard earlier in this video. There's a factory reset button, which this device sometimes lags out or doesn't take the input or has some issues, so I decided to click that. The date and time is also very important to set, because if you set it right, the file names can be the date, and that can help you find them better, and the SD card just has to do with the format and the information. Before this review or this video is over, I'm gonna quickly plug in this microphone to the Roland, and you can tell me if you can hear any difference. Right now it's plugged into the Audient ID4, which is a pretty good audio interface in terms of converters. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll see how the audio sounds like. I just connected the Audio-Technica AT4033A, they should really change these names, into the Roland R26. I don't know if you can see it, but the cable's right here, and this is what it sounds like. Can you tell a huge difference in the noise, for example, or in the audio quality, or in anything that is worth anything? Because this is the kind of audio quality that you're probably going to be able to achieve outside the house. Now, if I can tell this correctly, I'm probably not recording in a proper level, so I may need to boost this and boost, and I'm probably going to have it like right here if I do actually boost it. So let me know what you think. I hope that you enjoyed this review. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that this video helped you. I don't think this device is actually on sale anymore, brand new, but if I do find it on Amazon, I'm going to have an affiliate link. If not, then good luck finding it, and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.